Dwelling values were 0.1% higher in Perth in July, but they're actually 0.3% lower over the last 3 months. And we're seeing a rapid slowdown in that annual rate of growth, although values are still 20.5% higher over the past year, and they've increased a significant amount over the past 5 years. We're also seeing the number of sales transactions in the market dry up quite significantly. Sales volumes are estimated to be about 27% lower than they were at the same time last year. We've also seen more than a doubling of the median days on market. Now, days on market is still quite low and it's risen off a low base, but that doubling is quite significant. And we've seen a big increase in the level of vendor discounting in the Perth housing market as well. The amount of stock on the market in Perth is still quite low on a historic basis. However, new listings are 9% higher than they were a year ago, and total listings are up 10%. And this is a trend we've seen pretty much right throughout this year, with the year-on-year increase in new listings and total listings in positive territory for the first time in some years. So people that are looking to buy are getting a little bit more choice in the market now. The rental growth in Perth has been very strong over the past 12 months. Rents are up 8.1%, but as a result of this, we've seen gross rental yields ease over the past 12 months. Although gross rental yields are starting to nudge a little bit higher and are currently sitting at 3.8%. Perth has been an outstanding market for price growth over the past 5 years, but it's pretty clear that market conditions are now starting to settle. That's after phenomenal growth. Prices are up about 70% in the past 5 years in that market. What does that mean though? It means that there's not as many people turning up to open for inspections. It's harder to draw offers out of people when you've got your property on the market. And just generally, there's not as much interest in the market now as there was even 6 months ago. So if you're bringing a property to the market right now, you need to be aware of those conditions. And you probably need to also think about your price expectations. You may not get a price quite as good as you would have got had you sold earlier this year. You're still going to make a handsome profit on most properties that you're selling in Perth at the moment, but you do need to pare back those expectations because buyers are certainly not willing to pay as much as they were earlier this year before we got 3 interest rate increases and the government made all these changes to the tax treatment of residential property. In regional WA, values are still rising, but the rate of growth has slowed. Over the last month, we saw values rise by 0.9%. Over the past 3 months, they're up 3.1%. And we've still seen values rise by about 20% over the past 12 months. But it's clear that that rate of growth has slowed quite significantly over the last 3 to 4 months. One of the big things that has changed is sales activity. Cotality estimates that over the last 3 months in regional Western Australia, there are 30.8% fewer sales than what there were at the same time last year. We've seen the median time on market increase by 14 days compared to where it was 12 months ago. And we've seen the level of discounting in the market increase by 1.5%. So again, clear signs that the housing market in regional WA is not quite as strong as it was certainly last year, but even at the start of this year. Regional WA though is still seeing very strong rental growth. Rents are up 8.2% compared to where they were 12 months ago. We're still seeing very low rental vacancy rates and strong rental demand. Gross rental yields are still relatively high at 5.1%, but they've fallen very sharply from 5.8% at the same time 12 months ago. Regional Western Australia is a bit of an outlier in that values are still rising there, but as I mentioned, the rate of growth has slowed. And that might mean if you're a vendor looking to bring a property to the market, you're going to have to temper your expectations on price. You'll still get a very good price, but you may not get as good of a price as you would have got a few months ago. If you're looking to buy in this market, there's somewhat less competition, particularly in those areas that have had a lot of investor interest over recent years, and you may be able to negotiate yourself a pretty good price. But in the context of the broader market, we've seen phenomenal growth in property prices in regional WA in the last 5 to 10 years. And if you're selling, you're still set to make a very tidy profit on that property.